choices of where to live are wider than ever before. And also, this ties in with the subject of tax, which is never anyone's favourite conversation to have, but it is a relevant and a particularly large one. So, if you'd have asked me a few months ago, where's the cool place for people that are moving to, Dubai was very much near the top of that list of places that people think about, because it's in essence a cleaner version of India, although India is improving, and Dubai, kind of wonder what's going to fall out of the sky. It obviously has its advantages and disadvantages. Our Samaj members have looked at and or moved to Australia, Singapore, USA, Canada. These are all a variety of places where people have looked. Even Cayman Islands hits that list as well, in South Africa. The ones I'd like to specifically mention today are also the rise of the East, hence the likes of India, for example, tech areas like Bangalore, Delhi, and also returning home, as it were, to Surat, that district, or even as far as Baroda, which is only an hour away. These are all places worth considering because business-wise opportunities are vast in the East. And looking at the news and opportunities, things are difficult in the Western world now. These countries are burdened with heavy debt. Circumstances are changing, attitudes are changing. So at a macro level, please do think about what places might suit you and the world that you want to work in. And job types can change. As I say, 9 to 5 jobs are a thing of the past, and people have 5 to 9 jobs, gigs in their lifetime now. And the advantages of coming from the UK are the language, the diversity, being used to these sorts of things. But it doesn't mean that being here is the best thing anymore. If you look at this at a micro level, at different ages, you'll have different attitudes. And you'll see that although the generation has changed, there are a small but potentially growing number of people who are looking to spend more time of their later years in the likes of India, myself included in that. So I do speak from a little bit of kind of knowledge and researching into this. When you're older, your physical health will be your priority. Earnings aren't going to be relevant anymore. And we'll touch on that on the tax topic in a moment. And as long as you get to see and spend time with your kids as well, grandkids, I think the fact that the warmth and our brown Indian bodies aren't designed for the cold weather here. And I've seen it with my mother-in-law recently. I saw it with my father many years ago, and I'm feeling the kind of coldness myself as well in those winter months. So different ages, different attitudes. These are things that we should share, these conversations. And this includes aborted trips to, for example, Australia and Singapore. So please do ask if you want to know more about where, why, what, and when, or just have that conversation so then you can make a better informed decision. Then that's always going to be good. Briefly turning on to tax, the bottom line is always get advice. So part of the advice I've received and also the observations from our members, I'll tell you a couple of quick stories on this. So if you are older, in let's say your 50s, 60s, and you're still got the chance to earn money, but you're not that bothered about earning money. For example, for every £100 that you're being offered for, even if it's like an hourly rate, because you're so good a GP at what it is that you're doing or similar as a consultant, the £100 of gross earnings is probably going to get taxed at 40%, leaving you with £60 in your hand. And then if you're also in a position where your total net worth as a couple is over £650,000, even generously £1 million. If you take your home, your pensions, everything, you put all that together, savings, if it's over £1 million, there's a very good chance as a couple that you're going to get hit with 40% inheritance tax. So you might have the mindset of, if I earn £100 and get taxed at 40%, and it doesn't really impact my day-to-day life, because I've got enough and even if I spend all of that, I'm still going to be happy. In essence, all you're doing is taking £100 worth of gross earnings, and you're going to leave your kids with an extra £36 after your inheritance tax and your income tax bills. And so it's like, well, what's the point of even working? So those are the things to think about, because there are ways to avoid those big tax bills. One of them is to give things to charity. And obviously, because of inheritance tax, it doesn't hurt as much, because in essence, the less you have, the less 40% hit you're going to have. So a £100 donation is actually really going to only cost you 50, 60 quid. Whereas for the charity, that could make a massive difference. Gifting it to your kids is obviously do it sooner rather than later, because of the great unknown of how long are you going to live. If you live more than 7 years, that's great. It's all tax-free. There are the risks and rewards of helping your kids earlier in life as well. And those are the key factors when it comes to tax. As I say, happy to have conversations individually. There's also accountants that we know who are happy to have those kind of consultations, mini workshops, if you're interested in any of that. And one final story from my mummy's brother. So Mamate really. He's basically had a chance to buy a £60,000 Mercedes, but he's part of that generation where he's a retired pharmacist, done well. His kids are all set. So every pound that he has as an asset is going to become more of a 40% tax liability for him. But equally, this now means that £60,000 Mercedes, which he was in two minds about buying because he's kind of a frugal guy from that generation. However, now he sees this as a 40% discount on a £60,000 car, because if he doesn't spend that money, it's basically going to go to the taxman anyway. So his £60,000 car is now going to cost him £36,000. So again, it takes a change in mindset of, we've spent an entire lifetime saving for rainy days, and for our kids. And it's now got to the point where actually we need to turn that mindset off. And if you are going to choose to stay in this country and therefore be burdened with a 40% inheritance tax bill, which, by the way, India has 0 inheritance tax. So again, if money is one of your driving points, then it may be worth upping sticks and rerouting yourself to India. You can still obviously visit the UK, but the inheritance tax there is basically non-existent, has always been the case. Then that is something worth thinking about. Again, it's not for everyone, but here's a couple of health-related stories. The NHS is wonderful. However, the queues are massive, the waiting lists are long, and if you have a little bit of financial firepower, you don't have to have huge sums, you can get a really good team of doctors around you in India relatively quickly. We're talking like within days rather than months of waiting if you want to get some checking done. And similarly, on recent trips, I've spent no more than £40 getting 10 to 15 hours worth of physiotherapy. So it's not per session, that's in total. And I get to drive up when I want, book the appointment and the slots when I want. I never have to wait, and it's worked. The treatment's been absolutely brilliant. So there are the advantages that come with having origins from a country where there's over 1 billion people, where the cost of living is low. So everything from food, living costs, you can get a good two-bed flat in Navsari for no more than £25,000. All these things are factors along with the weather. So these are things worth thinking about, and across generation as well.